This will be the most simple video on how to improve your speaking skills. This is not hard. This is not some sort of David Goggins type of shit out here running 100 miles. This is very simple. So if you want hard things, go ahead, click away this video, watch something else. But if you feel that you just want the 80-20, you want the simple things to do over the next 2-3 weeks to improve your communication skills, improve your speaking, become better than 80% of people, then this is for you. But a very important thing here is that before I share with you the only 3 things you need to know on how to improve your speaking skills, I have one request from you, and that is that you take some notes, okay? Because in the end of the day, it's the end of the day. And nothing changes if nothing changes. You need to take some action, okay? I'm gonna give you 100% in this video, so over the next few minutes, I want you to do the same. Do 100% for you, okay? You're not doing this for me, but I will give you my 100%, so let's get into it. The first principle is quite easy. When I first learned this, people went from really thinking that I was a shy and very introverted guy who couldn't speak, who stuttered in conversations, to then getting comments that, oh, you sound very intelligent when you speak. You sound so confident. And the key here is very simple. And that is just replacing your filler words with silence. And this might sound easier than it actually is, but it might happen. It might be the case that you are currently talking with a lot of filler words. Most people are. So the chances are that you are doing the same. And the problem with filler words is not that, once in a while saying or like this and these repeated filler words that have no meaning. The problem is not, once in a while saying them, but if you constantly in every other sentence have like, all right, you get it, yeah. If you speak this way, you have a bunch of fluff in your sentences. It takes away from your credibility. People don't see you as confident or competent if you speak this way, because you sound unsure. Even though you might know your material really well, you might be the expert in your field, but if you speak this way with a bunch of filler words, you're going in there for disaster. So just learn to pause instead of using these filler words. And I know that silence might feel awkward, but that's just a feeling. When you are silent for just a couple of seconds, like this for example, people crave to know what you're going to say next. Your words land better. And just by doing this one thing, you will improve your communication skills by like 2x just by doing this thing. And this is something that is very simple. It doesn't take a lot of practice to train away your filler words. And if you want to, I can make another video on exactly how you do it in the most effective way. But just this change alone, you will be better than most people at speaking. So then, the second principle, let me just take a sip of water, is quite easy. And here again, these are the 80-20. These are the most simple things you can do to get most of the results. And that is just to speak with volume and clarity. You don't have to focus on tonality, think about storytelling, think about how can I remove my accent. Just focus very simply on speaking loud enough and clearly enough. It doesn't matter if you really have an accent. As long as people understand you, you're good to go. What are you thinking about? Don't be so nervous about sounding a certain way. Because one of the biggest things that I recommend people doing is to really learn how to relax in social situations. Because most of your problems when it comes to speaking, it's not that you don't have the skills. It's not that you're not good enough at speaking, because most people are quite good at speaking. It's just that you get tensed up. You get really nervous going into situations, and your mind blanks out when you need it the most. You forget your lines in the presentation. You forget, what can I say next? Like, what was my brilliant idea that I had earlier? And the reason for this is that you stress too much. You care too much about people judging you and saying the correct words. So learn to relax, okay? And just focus on the few fundamental things. Don't expect everything to go right. Because when you are too much of a perfectionist and you really want to say the perfect line, you want to say the most intelligent words, you want to describe everything as good as possible, that's when you get stuck in analysis paralysis. You get stuck in thinking too much. So you have to dumb yourself down. Okay, take half of your IQ points and give them to someone who needs it, because you're overanalyzing way too much. That is for sure. So what you need to focus on, just loudness and clarity. Loudness and clarity. Those are the only things you need to focus on. Okay? So do these things. And I will give you a bonus one. When you have graduated from mediocrity and you're not using filler words anymore, you're pausing instead, and you're projecting your voice in a good way, you're speaking loud enough, and you're speaking with clarity, which just means that you're enunciating the words in a clear way. People understand what you say. When you've done these things, what you then want to do, and this is the X thing right here, is to focus on tonality and focus on intonation. And tonality and intonation, these are two things that usually comes quite naturally if you're a good speaker. But for many people, this is something you need to practice. Intonation, to describe it simply, is just where your pitch goes. So if you want to sound assertive, for example, you always want to end on a lower pitch. Many people, especially women, they speak and they end with a higher pitch intonation at the end. So they say, "My name is Elisa. My name is Felix." They speak this way, where the end of the sentence, the pitch is higher, and this sounds like a question. You make the sound of being unsure and uncertain. Instead, what you want to say, if you want to be assertive, is just simply, "My name is Felix. My name is Alyssa." Right? But when you listen to people, most people, they don't think about this, and they naturally speak with, a higher pitch all the way, especially at the end. But if you want that authority, you want to be that calm, you want to have that calm power, and you want to sound powerful and competent, then you need to end on a lower pitch. It just makes your words sound more like a statement and a fact rather than a question or you being uncertain. Quite simple. But of course, if you have a question, then you should end it on a higher pitch. So if I, for example, want to ask you, "What is your name?" I mean, that kind of works, but it's better like, "What is your name?" You hear the difference? So these are things to think about. And when we talk about tonality, it might be hard to really grasp what is tonality. Felix, how can I improve on my tonality? Because this was something, at least for me, for a long time, people told me that I need to improve on my tonality because I asked for feedback. I wanted to get better at speaking. And all these coaches, all these people that I asked feedback from told me that you need to improve on your tonality. So I'm going to tell you the most simple way on how to improve your tonality, and especially in conversations or in presentations, how you have good tonality for whatever you're speaking about. And the simple rule is just to think about what is the message, what is the emotion you want to convey to the other person. That's it. So if you, for example, talk about something happy, something you're very passionate about, for example, you might want to think, you want to think to yourself, okay, so how do I say this in a happy way? And then you just say it naturally. Like the goal here is to sound as natural as possible, but just having that intention of how they want, what emotion they want to evoke in the other person, that will usually help you get the right tonality as well. Tonality is just expressing emotion. That is quite simple, but I know it feels kind of vague, but this is just something you have to practice over and over. But ask yourself that question: what is my intention with this? What am I trying to get across to the other person? And now, at the end, I need to give you another reminder. And this is the only question, or no, this is not the question I have for you. But this is the only request I have from you. In the beginning, I asked you to take notes, watch the video, and really take action on everything. And I just want to remind you once again of it. Practice makes progress. You will never be perfect. You need to have that beginner's mind, right? But you need to be the man in the arena. You need to ride a tiger. You need to do the work. And you need to have faith over fear. You need to start going into conversations, walking on water, feeling that you can do this, you can improve on yourself. And you just have to put in the reps. If you want to get good at speaking, you just have to put in the reps. But I'm telling you, if you do these things that I talked about in this video, and you apply them to every conversation you have, and you might even want to record an extra video every morning, 2-3 minutes of you speaking, and then you analyze yourself. If you do this for 14 to 21 days, you will see remarkable progress. I promise you that. And you don't need to think about having fancy vocabulary, trying to get your accent removed, or massive storytelling skills. None of that. Just focus on the basics, because the pros, all the best, they always go back to the fundamentals. It's usually not a magic list that everyone is always looking for. Everyone is always looking for that magic list, the magic techniques that will bring everything together. But there is no magic list. There's just a boring, basic list that everyone knows. It's the obvious list, but no one wants to do. So do the basics, put in the work, put in the practice, be the man in the arena, ride a tiger, have faith that it will work, walk on water, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.